Welcome back to Severe MMA. My name is Ian O'Neill, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by SBG's own Richie Smullen, fresh off of his first professional title win. Richie, so first kicking things off, I just want to say congratulations on that. We're probably, 2 weeks out from that fight now. You picked up the RFP Featherweight Championship, and it was your first professional title as well. So you must be very happy about that, Richie.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago today. Yeah, I'm delighted. Like, just after getting 2 wins in 3 months, 2 finishes. So now it's like the future now. What's next kind of thing is now like building this momentum.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and like, what was the build up like for you ahead of that fight? Like, I mean, with the pandemic and everything like that, did you have to make like much adjustments to your training in comparison to what you were doing maybe before the pandemic, or how did you make those adjustments?
Yeah, there was a little bit. Like, there wasn't as much classes, there wasn't as much training. It was smaller groups. Like a lot of the team are like live international, so they weren't around. But training was great. There's the same guys. Like, there's the Artem, there's the Blaine, there's John, my coach. There's a great team there. I actually prefer fighting abroad because there's much less pressure. I mean, like when you find a free arena, because all your home fans, you've 200 people from my hometown there cheering you on. Like when you go abroad, I went abroad, there was myself, our brother, and a few close friends. That's all there was. So there's no, if like it was, I don't know how to explain it. I much prefer fighting over there.
Yeah, just maybe some less pressure. And I mean, that was a question I was going to ask you too, like, what would be the comparison of, because you've had the experience of being in the full out 3 arena before and competing there. So you just much prefer going over there behind enemy lines. I mean, because you're fighting a Ukrainian guy on a Ukrainian promotion, like, and he was a tough cookie, like, and you prefer going in there behind enemy lines and as in fighting in front of all of your fans or family and stuff at home, eh?
No, that I kind of said that wrong. I would prefer to fight in Dublin. Like, the winning in the 3 arena is something crazy. It's something that, like, you just can't. You have to experience it. It's crazy, but there's a lot less pressure when you know all your friends and family aren't there watching. I think it's more the fear of losing, isn't it? Like, fear of embarrassing yourself more than losing or getting hurt. Just don't embarrass yourself in front of all your friends and family. Yeah, going to Ukraine, it's fun. Like, Artem looks after me, brings me over. The promoter Sound is a very good guy. A lot of respect over there. Look after you, nice hotels, nice everything. So I do enjoy going over there. Like, I might even go over there once more this year if there's any more shows over there and defend my belt.
Nice.
It'd be nice to enter a win up.
Yeah, and I mean, you went over there with Artem. That was a question I was going to ask you. Obviously, John Kavanagh has been such a pivotal part of your mixed martial arts journey so far, and he has been in your corners. You've been cornered by Artem for a couple of fights as well. Like, we've heard plenty of stories, and the stories tell themselves about Artem as a fighter. But what is Artem like as a coach, and how much of a benefit is it having him in your corner?
Well, like, John is still my head coach. Like, my last fight, John was in the UFC with Johnny Walker. And the fight before that, I think he was with Connor for the trilogy fight with Poirier. Like, John's always my coach, and he always will be my coach. It's just hopefully my next fight he'll be there with me as well, John and Artem. That's hopefully the plan. Artem is more than a coach. Artem's like my brother. Like, I train with Artem all the time. Like, he cornered me in my very first amateur fight. I think it was in Navan in a nightclub. It was a long time ago. Like, I hang around with Artem. He's a very good friend of mine. Like, there's no pressure. I just go abroad with him. We fight, we go home. It's as simple as that. I've been on his corner a lot, like for his big fights, his big bare knuckle fights. I've been in a lot of his UFC corners. It's like there's a great friendship.
Perfect. Like, I mean, and I kind of maybe worded that wrong myself. I did know that John was still your head coach. Obviously, he's a busy man. He can't be everywhere, but it must be a great benefit to have Artem there as backup whenever John can't do that with you. Like, you've been have a big, close relationship with him for many years.
Like, even when John is in my corner, you always see Artem there as well. Like, they're always in my corner. It's always been the same corner the last while. So it's a great team. And hopefully then my next one, defending the belt, hopefully be John and Artem there.
Yeah, that would be sweet. And the hopes is to get in there maybe later on in the year again. You'd like to get in there before the year end, yeah?
Oh, definitely. The promotion said something about November. But I've got my daughter's christening at the same time, so I said around December. like early December, I'm fine to go. Like weight's good, I'm good to go. So it's just, I think every win gets me closer to maybe getting where I want to go, like maybe Contender Series or UFC, a new shot on UFC. So like all I can do is keep winning, keep trying. Like what's the other option, to sit on the fence and wait? Like that gets no one nowhere. So I think the more active I am and the more fights I get, like it's time to go. I just give one more big shot.
That's it. Are you kind of like, obviously the pandemic has kind of held everybody back somewhat. I mean, are you eager to get those fights under your belt that you weren't really able to have during the pandemic because things had kind of shut down and stuff?
Definitely. I think fights are a lot easier to get now. Like all the shows are back up. Like some are like on pay-per-view links, some have crowds. The Ukraine has crowds, so it's kind of like the atmosphere is kind of cool. You're walking out, you have the crowds. But yeah, I'd like to go one more this year, and then like every 2.5 months without an injury next year. Like I could have fought in the Ukraine a little bit more. I fight my first Ukraine on June 23rd. I was offered a fight there in April, but just like Ukraine was red list and it was a nightmare to get there. Like 3 or 4 different countries. I said I'll wait till it's on red list. Yeah. So like the options were there for me to fight more, but just logistics was just too hard. I said I was wasted.
Big time, like yeah, and it must have been like, and we've seen it with so many fighters, like when you're getting prepared to fight, and then you just don't know if you're going to be able to fight, and how all the changes up towards the end of the fight if it gets pulled eventually. I mean, it's a lot of time wasted and frustration and stuff like that as well, because you have to pretty much prime yourself for a certain date.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's the benefit of fighting in that show in Ukraine, because I'm the main event and they're kind of building the show around the main event. They do like 5 amateur fights, 5 pro fights. Like they're in and out. The show is racked the whole way through. Like I think my opponent pulled out 4 or 5 days before, but they already had this guy ready to go, like a backup kind of guy. They already had him ready to go because he was doing the European Summer Championships the week after, which he actually won there last week. So
nice. So I was going to say, and before we talk maybe a little bit about the future, I'd like to go back and talk a bit about that fight. Like you went in there against a pretty tough guy. Like Gritskev is like, he was a short notice opponent. But did that affect you any way at all? Like, I mean, are you a guy that just likes to train for a specific opponent, or just do your own specific training and just handle the fight as same as anything else?
Yeah, I just kind of do my own training, to be honest with you. Because how would you describe it? Like when I fight, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So my opponents are probably the same. So if you're watching me, like it's different every single time. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I fight. So it kind of depends. Like it's same with him. Like I was down getting breakfast. If you want to call it breakfast in your weight cutting on fight week, I was down getting a bit of food, and Artem just said, your opponent changing out fighting this guy. So I said, it is what it is. I'm already in the Ukraine. What's the point saying that? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm there to fight, so that's kind of the game, isn't it? Yeah. Like if you want to go to the UFC and fight the best guys in the world, you have to be prepared for anyone on short notice. And like fair play to the guy stepping up. Like he gave me a hard first round. I composed myself more in the second round. I don't know what it was in the first round. I was talking to Artem over it. I was a little bit not switched off, but just was maybe too calm or something, and walked into some shots, made some silly mistakes. So round 2, I kind of composed myself and just kind of went from there.
Yeah, the adjustments that you made in round 2 were pretty good. Like I watched the fight myself, and I agree it was a pretty tough round. But I would have still given you the first round too. I think you did enough to win that. But there were some heavy shots exchanged on the feet at times, and I mean, I thought it was an excellent performance overall, and you're ecstatic to get the win. So it must have been a big relief. What was it? A relief? Was it just a release of frustration of getting that first title under your belt, or you must have been really happy?
I set myself a goal, like to give it one more crack if I went to the UFC. Then I want to try to win. I think every win now is kind of like one step further, one step closer. Like I'm 8 professional wins, 2 losses, 1 draw now at this stage, and they've all been good opponents. There's been like no cans. Like everyone I fight is good. Even my amateur days, like I was fighting the good guys, looking to test myself. Yeah. So I think like every win now is kind of the same feelings. Like that's it, one more step, one step closer to hopefully getting a second shot on the UFC.
Yeah, like you're 11 fights in now, and you have had some UFC experience after appearing in the Ultimate Fighter House, and also some Bellator experience as well. Like, so I mean, you have a hell of a lot of experience under your belt in just 11 fights, and I guess looking forward for you, then it is the UFC. That's where you want to go.
Yeah, that is my main goal. That's everyone's main goal. Like, it's all the shows are great. It's just like UFC is kind of the premiership, isn't it? Like the branding, the everything off the UFC is just like, it's just crazy. And I didn't do myself any justice when I was there. So it's kind of like, there's a lot of things I want to try compete with them guys. I want to right the wrongs. There's a lot of things. I want to get that win in Vegas. That's like something to dream of.
You were hurt the last time when you competed in the Ultimate Fighter House. Is that right?
Yeah, I got like I made myself sick. I got like a rhabdomyosis. It's like I can't really explain it. People Google it. It's like when the muscles break down and go into your, I think it's your kidneys. And like I was still feeling the after effects going into that fight, but just it was like the opportunity. Just it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was lessons learned.
Yeah, that's right. Like, did you kind of come to any conclusions of what may have caused that for you, or have you rectified those issues, or have you experienced anything like that after the fact?
A lot of it was like it's overtraining, bad nutrition, starving yourself, making weight. It was all caused by me. Just, you know what I mean? It's all fixed now. Like, now my diet's perfect all year round nearly. Like I've made, that was at lightweight. I've made featherweight now four times at Bellator, and twice. I made featherweight 6 times now, easy in a row, like no cuts, no nothing. So after fixing it all, it was like a wake up call as well. Like I wouldn't say a blessing in disguise. I'd rather be in the UFC after getting that win, but just didn't work out my way. So it's up to me now, like, to fix it. So I've had 6 fights now since, and I'm hoping I've one more this year, and I'm on to keep fighting till I hopefully get that chance to redeem myself and get that win. That's like that's the main goal and the main dream.
So do you think that your path, you mentioned Contender Series now, for somebody like yourself, is that kind of somewhere where you're looking to try and get the next step into the UFC? Do you think another couple of title defenses? Do you think moving to maybe another promotion is an option in order to get to that step? How do you kind of foresee that happening for yourself?
To be honest with you, I don't really know. Like, I haven't sat down properly with John yet. I'm just going to keep winning fights. Like, I'm not tied to Real Fight Promotion. I'm not tied to them. So if I was offered anything else, I'd jump on it in a heartbeat. I just won't be signing any like exclusive 4-fight deals to anybody. Does that make sense? Like, I'm open to fight anywhere at the minute, but just building my record now. So like, I'm prepared to fight anywhere, like Ukraine, Russia, England. There's not much shows happening in Ireland, but anywhere around kind of Europe to fight these guys and to get these wins. That's my main goal now.
Yeah, similar enough.
Like,
sorry.
I'd take Contender Series in a heartbeat. That's like, you get a fight, you fight, you impress, you get in. Like, they have a lot of European fighters going on Contender Series now. So I think like there's could be an opportunity. Or maybe if I get a few more wins, I get a short notice fight, or even if I speak to my coach, speak to Artem, and they can reach out for me and see what I have to do. So I have to sit down with John and Artem and have to see what's next. That's kind of the thing now, isn't it? Just kind of sit down and reach out and see what to do next.
Yeah,
like a Contender season, a heartbeat, I do it. I'd love to do it.
Yeah, it'd be great. It would be a great opportunity. I mean, like you mentioned 1-fight deals there, and that was a while back I sat down with Will Fury, and he was in the same opinion. He wants to kind of do 1-fight deals as well and kind of see what's opening up for him. And I asked him the question, and I'll ask you the same question. Like, you have a win over Paul Hughes as an amateur, who is currently the Cage Warriors featherweight interim champion. I mean, was something like that interest you? Like, you know, you have a win over him already. Maybe going into the ranks of Cage Warriors again. And obviously they have a lot of signings into the UFC too. Would that be an option for you?
I've no interest with Cage Warriors. Like, I don't know what the story is there with, there's no SBG fighters on Cage Warriors, so it's not even worth talking about that. It's kind of like not worth talking about the Cage Warriors thing. Like, yeah, Paul Hughes, next to the fight, has got a big win. I can see Paul Hughes beating the champion and Paul Hughes going on to UFC as well. Who knows in UFC maybe, but for Cage Warriors, I won't be in Cage Warriors.
Fair enough. No worries at all. Yeah. Would you be thinking maybe, I guess, if you were to go back to Bellator, would that be a route? Was there any talks about maybe competing on the upcoming Bellator Dublin card?
No, I didn't hear anything about the Bellator Dublin card. No, I didn't. Like I definitely fight in Bellator, like as well, on 1-fight deals if they came up. But like I signed a Bellator for a 4-fight deal the last time. And I took I fought in February, September again. It's very slow. Like I know I lost one of them. I got a cut there for 2 weeks, but the 3 fights I won, like I wasn't hurt. I could have went again. Like when I fought Sean Tauber in the September, I got lucky. I got not lucky, but I got a quick win. I got out of the fight unhurt. So that's the lucky part of it. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't hurt. I didn't get hit. I got the quick submission. I was ready to go again, but I didn't fight then till the next February again. So it's too long. That was the only problem. That was maybe my fault, not being exciting enough, or maybe not being the personality they wanted to give me more fights. But I just feel now I just get up the wins my own way in like the wherever it is, UK. It'll probably most likely be like the Ukraine, Poland, Russia. A lot of fights happening in kind of places. So that's what I see myself fighting, to be honest with you, until I get what I want or that kind of thing.
Yeah, big time. Makes sense. It surely does. I mean, you've been around SBG for many years now. You've seen kind of the first wave of Irish talent coming through, and you were a part of it as well. When you look at the landscape of Irish MMA, Richie, how is it looking in your end? I know, we had Cage Legacy card yesterday with a bunch of great up-and-coming amateur fighters on it, and one of your teammates as well who won his first title in Max Lally. I mean, how are you looking at the Irish MMA landscape? How does it make you feel? I think that personally, myself, it's in a really good spot right now.
Oh, it's crazy. I'm glad I'll be retired when the Max Lally comes through. Like that kid's something special. He's 18 years old, and mark my words, he beat most pro men. Like, especially grappling. There's not much guys that grapple him in this country. He's a scary kid, and he's got a very bright future ahead of him. I think he's going to be the number one guy to watch out of the whole country. Like, even like he's 2-0 at amateur. He won the youth IMAFs in the summer. Like, he won't be amateur for long. He won't get fights at amateur for long. Like, I've seen his recent post. He wants to fight in November and December. Like, who's going to fight that kid? That's the thing. Like, I don't want to fight him. We'll rule that out for your next fight then, Richie. So we will. But I agree. I mean, I couldn't say enough good things about Max as well. I seen him perform yesterday on that Cage Legacy card, and very composed, very good fighter for a man of his age. He's only 18 years old now, and he certainly does have a very bright future ahead of him. Speaking about upcoming fights, your teammate Brian Moore is heading over to Bellator this weekend behind enemy lines to take on a Russian guy. How do you think? I think if you're going to send any man across to Russia to take on a Russian man, it'd be Brian Moore, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be definitely Brian. Brian's a great guy. I'm looking forward to watching it. Brian's in like a very good spot now. He's got a few solid wins. So, like, I mean, he could be fighting for a title soon. If he beats this guy, it's a big statement. Like, the same thing. Like, who wants to go to Russia to fight a Russian guy? No one does, you know what I mean? And he's doing it. So, fair play to him. Yeah, I agree. And also, teammates Peter Queally, Sinead Kavanagh, both have got title shots recently. Are you looking forward? Are you going to go to the Bellator Dublin card, the upcoming one, just to support them? And how do you feel about Peter getting the title shot? And how do you feel about James's fight on the card as well? Of course, I'll be definitely there watching the fight. I'll be definitely there watching the show. Like, you said a lot of stuff there. Like, Peter Queally deserves it. Peter Queally beat that guy already. Like, he's kind of like, he's one of the most popular guys in the lightweight division. Patricki's been around a long time. Like, it's going to be great. Peter deserves that. Like, Peter deserves that big fight. He deserves that big main event slot. And this fight's the making of Peter. Peter wins this fight. He's the top of the pile. Like, everyone's coming over him then. Like, I think he'll do it as well. Like, over 5 rounds as well. Patricki will last Peter for 5 rounds, and Peter does not get tired. Like, he just doesn't get tired. He's there all the time. So I think Patricki's in for a long night. And regarding James, like, James is a superstar. Like, everyone knows James. Like, even in the Ultimate Fighter house, and that was 3 or 4 years ago, I was asked, do you know James? Do you know James? and he's only had a few fights back then. Like everyone knows him. The kid's a superstar. He's training out now with James Krause in America as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing his improvements in his skills. And like he beats Patchy, like he's like, I mean, Patchy fought for the title. I can see James beating him. I think James actually submitting him. And like everyone knows James already. So like, after this fight, I think there are no questions to be asked about him. Like there shouldn't be anyway. But after this fight, no more questions to be asked about him. Anyway.
Seeing him going over there and doing some work with James Krause, is that something that would interest you and going over, or is this something that you're already doing already, and like maybe going over and working with different gyms and stuff like that, getting a few different looks and stuff, or is that something that would interest you down the line perhaps?
No, like I'm after getting this far with my coach and my team, and I've got 2 young daughters as well, and like I like it back home. I think I'm more of a home bird, I think. Like, I mean, I'm up in the gym, up in SPG twice a day, and I like my life at the minute. I like the way it's going. It's I'm winning. I'm getting good rounds. I'm getting good training in. So I think, I mean, I'm happy where I am.
Perfect. Yeah. Nice. And yeah, and just to fall back a small bit, just thoughts on Sinead Kavanagh's upcoming fight with Cyborg. I mean, someone who definitely deserves this shot. I can't wait to see the fight. And I think she's as ready as she can be to take on Cyborg. What do you think?
Cyborg, Sinead, I think they're going to meet in the middle. It's like I was with Sinead when she fought that girl. I think it was Arlene Blencrow in upstate New York, and that fight was crazy. Like both girls, Sinead and Arlene, both got rocked, and not one of them shot for the takedown. They just both stood there, rocked, and were swinging. I think it'll be the same this fight. I think Sinead will be on her face and throwing from the start, and Cyborg will do the same. So I'm really excited for that fight. I think Sinead's looking good now in training. She's looking really good. She's looking fit and healthy. So I can see Sinead doing it. Sinead does it like, I mean, same thing as Peter. She goes straight to the top. That's it. She's champion. She's a world champion. Like a Bellator world title is a legitimate world title.
Absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mean, it must be great buzz around the gym there now lately with all this going on, and you know, it's well deserved from everyone that's going to be getting in there and competing. And I for one can't wait for all of that as well. And I guess a little bit back to yourself, and I won't keep you for too long, Richie. Thanks so much for taking the time. The plan for you on the short term is another fight in Ukraine before the year is out, hopefully the end of November or December, perhaps.
Yeah, December would be perfect. I'd love to go back to December. Artem's actually in the Ukraine now at the Mahach, or he's in Ukraine for something anyway. So hopefully he can sort it for me, and he'll get back to Artem on Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully some news for me.
Perfect.
Like, he's looking out for me there big time.
Nice. And is there anything else on the horizon for you? Anything else coming up, or anything you would like to promote, or anything? Sponsors?
Literally nothing. All I've been doing is all's on my mind is get back to the UFC. Just giving out one more crack, just getting the fights, getting the wins, and that's why it is now at this stage. Is just looking for these wins, looking for these fights. I think now everything's back more open now, so it is like there's shows in Germany. I see my teammates flying to Germany. I see them flying everywhere. So I see them flying everywhere for fights. So like the fights are there now. Like maybe the money's not there, maybe the money's not great. But like at this stage, I'm not doing it for the money. At this stage, I'm doing it now, like just to get the wins. The money will come. If you're good enough and get to the UFC, the money will come. So you kind of have to watch the options, sit on the shelf and get paid nothing, or fight somewhere else and get paid less than you're used to getting paid, and getting a win. There's things like that as well. You have to kind of ask yourself, what do you want? Why are you doing this for? I'm doing this at the UFC, and I've got goals on myself. I want to do. I want to get to the UFC. I want to get the win. The UFC, redeem myself. That's my main goal at the minute. Like the money will come one day.
Nice. If you had a roadmap and when you would like it to happen, would you be hoping towards the middle to the end of next year, perhaps, or what way you take it tomorrow if it was offered to you? Would you?
Yeah, take it tomorrow. I feel ready now. I feel ready to do it now. It won't be tomorrow. I know that. I know it'll be a few more wins, but like all I can do is like keep my weight on point. That if I was offered at the gym for a short notice thing, I could step in. Like I do all my own fights, all my own sponsors. My coach John and Artem help me. So like maybe down the line, if you're 3 or 4 more wins, there's always that manager route as well of getting into the UFC. But then you have to give more of your purse away. So it's everything's a catch-22, isn't it?
That's
you have
it.
to sit there and think these things through. They're not over decisions.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I'm looking forward to hearing what those decisions are down the line, Richie, and looking forward to seeing you getting in there and competing again. I hope it works out back. I hope you definitely deserve, in my opinion, another crack at the UFC. I think that you've been like doing some great things throughout your career. You haven't had a rub of the green, but hopefully a bit of luck comes your way and the opportunities come your way and you find yourself back in the UFC again. And hopefully we'll get the chance to sit down and have a talk again sometime down the line as well, Richie. Thanks so much for joining me today and taking the time out of your busy schedule. And I look forward to speaking to you again, Richie. If anybody else has liked what they're listening to, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And thanks once again, Richie, for joining me today.
I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.